David Sutter from Wyopreps.com here, back with our second game of the week feature, and it takes us to Class 1A 9-man, and we're going to the West Conference this week. We really haven't talked too much about the West Conference with a lot of the power in the East, and we've got a big one with possibly a number one seed on the line Saturday as Big Piney hosts Shoshoni, and Shoshoni needs a win to try and create a three-way tie, and then Big Piney, a win would give them the outright top seed. Kind enough to join me as Punchers head coach Jeromy Moffat. And Jeromy, you guys played a couple of games against those teams from the East early on, took a few lumps, but it seems like you've kind of gotten yourself back on track here as you get ready to wrap up the regular season this weekend. How would you characterize where your team's at right now?
Yeah, being a young team, we graduated so many players, so many seniors that we knew it was going to take a little time for us to find a team identity. And from where we're at now, opening against that Southeast team, we're, I think we're a night and day different team. Those younger kids, it takes them a little time to find that varsity speed and get varsity reps. And a lot of those kids had never played a varsity snap those first couple games. And so we knew finding a team identity and kind of a chemistry was going to take some time. So we're happy with where we're at now. I think we've really gelled together as a team, and we're playing for each other, and I think that's the biggest thing.
I know you put a lot on Caden Clifford. He's kind of your one main key guy back from last year's state title team. What has he done to carry the load, so to speak?
Yeah, Caden is a once-in-a-lifetime player as far as a high school player. I really believe he is not only one of the top players in 1A, but I honestly think in all four classes he would be a top player. He's one of those kids who just loves football. He's knowledgeable. He's another coach on the field. He's not a real vocal leader, but he leads by example. And I think him and Zeph, our returning linemen, have really stepped up well as far as helping these younger kids learn the game, kind of learn the concepts of what we want as a coaching staff. Caden, I can't say enough good about him. He is just, probably one of the top 4 or 5 players, I believe, out of Big Piney to ever play running back.
You mentioned one of them, but Zuniga and Galvin, what are you seeing out of those type of guys that are stepping up and really have blossomed into bigger roles this year?
Yeah, Zeph is a junior, and I believe he's a top 3 or 4 lineman in the state as well. He was a big part of our state championship team last year, setting up those running game plays, and he's been a great vocal leader for us up front, especially because we're pretty young up front, and he knows what we expect mentally with the guys up front, and he's done a great job leading by example. And then you go with Gerardo and the Galvin kid. He's a silent leader, but he's just one of those kids who comes out and does everything right, does everything you ask of him, will play any position you want him to. And then we've had a few other kids step in. I'm sure going to talk about Finley, our quarterback, has stepped in into some roles that they weren't quite expecting. And it's really helped gel our team as one. So
obviously a big game on Saturday. Do you talk about the conference title and the implications that this has? Have you addressed that with your team at all, Jeromy?
Yeah, one of our biggest motivational keys this season was everybody pretty much wrote us off as in a rebuild year. And we have honestly felt a little disrespected and played with a little chip on our shoulder because we're defending state champions. And really we haven't been mentioned the entire season. And we're just fine with that because we're kind of down here in our own corner and doing what we do. And so that's kind of been our motivation of, just attacking every week with a chip on our shoulder and a kind of a us against the world mentality. And I think the kids have really responded to that. So,
Shoshoni, what do you see out of the Wranglers coming into this big matchup Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, Shoshoni, they're a typical Shoshoni team. They play hard, they play physical, they're well coached. Schematically, they do some things that put you in some spots defensively, especially with the outside backers and safeties, where you have to make a choice. And if you make the wrong choice, they'll capitalize on that. So, I think we match up well size-wise. We've played some big teams this year. And I think Shoshoni matches up physicality wise the best with us. I definitely like some things they're showing defensively with us offensively. And we're going to try to capitalize on that stuff, but we're expecting a hard hitting, typical Shoshoni Big Piney battle Saturday.
Well, Jeromy, thanks so much for the time. I wish you best of luck, and maybe we'll catch you down the road.
Sounds great. We'll see you soon.
We continue talking about one of our games of the week. It happens to be on Saturday in the 1A 9-man West Conference as the Big Piney Punchers hosting the Shoshoni Wranglers, and maybe a shot at the top seed in the 1A 9-man West up for grabs here. I'm visiting with Shoshoni head coach Tony Truempler. Tony, thanks for a few minutes here. I haven't talked to you so far this season. You guys coming to this game sitting at 5-2 overall, 3-1 in the conference, right behind the Punchers. How do you feel about your squad as you're wrapping up the regular season and getting ready for the postseason?
Really good. We've grown up a lot this season. We kind of had a little rough season last year, and we came out, focused and ready to play this year and kind of get back on track to kind of what we're used to playing and stuff like that. And the boys have done really well.
Where have you seen maybe the most growth out of this group?
Honestly, just playing a full game. We've been an up and down team. We either look really, really good or sometimes we look like a dumpster fire. And so just the growth that we've had across the board, especially on the offensive line, because we're not a big team. We're not big at all. So the offensive line, and I have one senior on the offensive line, the rest are sophomores. So growing up on the offensive line, they've had to do it real fast.
So obviously you have taken your lumps a little bit, but as you mentioned, you've started to kind of figure some things out. So what maybe was the key ingredient that kind of got you going in the right direction here in the last few weeks, you think?
I think it just kind of clicked. The losing to Grable was got hurt, and it really the boys kind of really woke up after that. You don't go into halftime 21-6 and then end up losing the game. So, we were just kind of not there in the second half, and we just had a long talk after that loss, and it was kind of, I don't know, it just kind of something switched in the boys, and they're ready to play. We should probably still be undefeated besides even Pine Bluffs. We played with Pine Bluffs the first half. It was 12-6 going into halftime, and we come out at halftime, and we're just, I don't know, we're just not there sometimes after halftime. We don't go inside anymore for half times. We stay on the field. We do our adjustments right on the field. We go right into doing some drills and stuff just like we would pregame. We do it halftime now too. They just think that they sit down and they relax a little bit and they lose that mindset. So they're the ones that are like, can we not go in at halftime anymore? So we're trying that, and it seemed to be working. So
now you got a big one against the Punchers. What do you see out of Coach Moffat's squad as you go to their place on Saturday afternoon?
Coach Moffat always has his team ready. He's a really good coach. I'm kind of excited to play them because they're more our style. Like the bigger teams that we've had to play with, like Rocky and Grable and Wind River, they're bigger than us. And so, we know going into those games, we got to kind of take our punches, and they're going to move it up and down and we just got to wait. It's kind of a waiting game for us because they can kind of oppose their will on us a little bit, those bigger teams, and Big Piney's not as big. So I think it'll be a pretty good matchup for us. We know we have to stop the Clifford boys. He's going to bust a couple on us. We understand that. And so will little brother if we let him get out, and they'll just run, and then they'll throw in a pass every now and then. So we just have to be ready to go.
Talk a little bit about what you've been stressing in practice without giving away the game plan here. What you've been telling and chatting with your team about this week in terms of kind of some of your keys, I guess.
Stop number 11.
That's $1 million question right there, though.
Yes.
How do you do that?
Yeah. How do you do it? Yeah. We've put in a bunch of different looks for him. And it's not just him. I shouldn't say just him, but they utilize him very well. I would if I had that. And just not not getting complacent and forgetting about the past, because watching film and stuff, and that's what they do. They'll run you, and then as soon as you start bringing DBs closer and stuff, then they're going to hit you. They're going to hit you with a pass. And so that's kind of the thing, is just staying focused and knowing where he is at on the field all the time.
Well, Tony, hey, I wish you best luck on Saturday in Big Piney, and thanks for taking a few minutes to chat.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for having me.